Hello BookTube, it's Ben here from the History Fella channel. In today's video I'm going to do the second half of the shelf tour number 2, which is this shelf here. I split it into two because it felt like there would be too many books to just do one video. So here we go with the rest of the shelf. This is my shelf. If you missed the last video, you should be able to find it somewhere. This is the shelf that revolves mainly around the Third Reich and the leaders of the Third Reich. So there should be books about Hitler, Bormann and others. So here's the first book in this video. It's a guide to Hitler's Munich. That's by David Matheson, published by Pen and Sword Books. And basically it's a book that will take you around Munich. It looks at all the sites that were relevant to the Nazi Party. It says Historical Guide to the City of Munich, examining its connection to Hitler and the rise of the Nazis and the Third Reich. Features key events and places connecting Hitler to the city, showing how much Munich and its surrounds became inextricably linked with the rise and fall of the Nazi Party. It guides the reader through famous sites including the Beer Hall Putsch, Kristallnacht, nearby Dachau, and the Eagle's Nest and Nuremberg. But it's actually a good book, and it tells you a lot about the different places, and it is quite revealing, and it's always good to see. The next one is the Third Reich in 100 Objects. That's a material history of Nazi Germany, and that's done by Roger Morehouse, who's a well-known historian. I quite like this book. It's a fantastic book, and it looks at all the little bits and pieces and little knickknacks and pieces of equipment that you don't they're there in the background, but once you see them you kind of know what they are, and it's very interesting. Like here we've got a toy figure of Adolf Hitler, something for the kids. It ranges all the way up to you've got an 88mm gun. But we think we've also got Africa Corps field cap. These are all things you can't really, or you don't really notice at the time. But when you see a picture of them, they are quite identifiable. Got a Junkers Stuka plane there. That's the plane that when they used to do the dive bombing, it would have like that little fan siren on the wings, which would make that haunting sound as it dived towards the ground. And the next book, which is kind of really the start of the main military actions really. This is Poland and the Second World War, 38 to 48, and that's written by Evan McGilvery. I quite enjoyed this book because it actually tells you when the Second World War really started, and it really shows you the intent Hitler had and what he was wanting to accomplish, and it's just a really good book if you want to read about the start and the reasons why World War II started. And this is an excellent book to read. It says, although their country was quickly overrun, Poles continued fighting throughout the war, both with forces in exile and resisting the Nazi occupiers within Poland. The full story of Poland's part in World War II, from failure of pre-war diplomacy and planning through to betrayal by allies leading to civil war and the Soviet occupation in the immediate post-war years. It's a very good book and I would highly recommend that. Those previous two books, the Polish one is Pen and Sword books. I always forget the publisher name. And the 100 Objects is by Greenhill Books. And if I didn't mention the first one, just in case, that's the Pen and Sword book too. The next one is a nice chunky tome, Hitler's Wartime Conversations. His personal thoughts as recorded by Martin Bormann. He was another one of the top Nazi leaders. It was a bit like chucking a load of people in a room and seeing who could please Adolf Hitler the most, and he tended to have his own hierarchy and his favourites, and they all used to squabble amongst each other and tell tales and snitch and that sort of thing. So it was always certainly a room full of evil people, and they would do anything to anyone else just to get to the top, which is a bit like the Nazi Party altogether. It says on the back here, almost lost to history entirely, these are the private and uncensored musings of one of the most controversial men in modern history. Hitler's Wartime Conversations chronicles Hitler's discussions and remarks made in conversation at secret headquarters, as recorded by trusted confidant Martin Bormann, a rare and fascinating glimpse behind the propaganda of the Third Reich. This volume offers unique insights into the workings of the National Socialist hierarchy and the mind of Adolf Hitler himself. That's certainly a very good book and quite telling and quite scary as well, if you can, when you think these are everyday conversations between these people. And what they chatted about is quite dark in some places. Right, the second last book is this one. This is Piper's War. The wartime years of SS leader Joachim Piper from 41 to 44. And that's written by Danny S. Parker. Another excellent book. Piper was a very high up tank commander who kind of fought in all the theatres of war during World War II, eventually ended up in Western France around D-Day. He was one of the ones that held up the Allies at what was it called? It's a Bastogne, just after D-Day, and kind of around the Battle of the Bulge. So certainly if you want to read about tank warfare, it wasn't a particularly nice man, but saying that, the Americans really liked him for some reason, but I think that was mainly because of his tactical nous and knowledge. And then the last one, as he rears his ugly head again. This is Martin Bormann, Hitler's Chief Executioner, and that's written by Volker Koop. Martin Bormann was a kind of a bit like the he was like the deputy to Adolf Hitler. He managed to worm his way all the way up to the top. You know, telling tales here and there, spouting conspiracy theories or whispering in Hitler's ear so that he could kind of gain his trust, and he eventually, he was one of the ones that would eventually, if Hitler wasn't there, he would have taken over, and that was kind of his plan. But he would do anything, like quite a few of the others. He would do anything he could to get to the top. And if you notice, actually in this picture here, you've got Adolf Hitler here, Martin Bormann, and then you've got Albert Speer. I've got another book by Albert Speer to go on this shelf, but I'm currently reading it and will be doing a book review of it soon. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.